Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bus One podcast. We're glad that you could be joining us here today. We are on our way to Elkhart, Indiana, and we've got some time to kill. So I think it's time we should play some trivia. Contestants, please go ahead and introduce yourselves.
What's up? I'm Connor.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm Alec.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Hey, it's Bryce.
Is this the real life?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we all doing today?
Ready to roll.
Very, very good.
Just dandy.
I'm nervous what you picked.
I am too.
Well, Alec, before I go on and tell you what topic I picked today, I'd like to explain the rules to everyone real quick. So this is how it's going to work. We have 3 levels of 5 questions each for a total of 15 questions. Round 1, questions are worth 1 point. Round 2, questions are worth 2 points. Round 3, questions are worth 3 points. Everybody understand that?
I think I can keep track of that.
Yeah. Also, you're going to have to keep track because points don't really matter in this game and I don't really care.
Got my whiteboard. We're ready.
But also don't cheat.
No promises, but there's a recording, I think, so they'll know.
All right. Also, once per game, the host is going to give a fake answer to one of the questions asked. Contestants have the opportunity once per game to try to figure out which question they believe is fake. If they correctly guess that the question they're challenging is fake, at the end of the game, they will gain 3 points. If they are wrong, they will lose 3 points. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we did find out per you last week that you can go negative. So thanks
That
for
is
demonstrating
true.
that. I really appreciate it.
You can go negative, but if you're smart about how you play the game, you can zero yourself out pretty damn quickly.
Do you still, if you're negative, can you still wager all your points on the last question?
100%. I did it last time, so now it's canonically truthful.
Truthfully canonical.
It's canon. It's canon in this podcast now. Also, please do not Google. Don't cheat. That doesn't make it fun. And the most points win. Does anybody have any questions before we get into it?
What's the topic?
Oh, Alec, I'm so glad you asked that. Today, our topic is going to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Interesting.
I picked this topic with the 3 of you in mind.
I have seen a Marvel movie.
Bryce, I think you are going to do better than you would ever actually.
We'll see. I hope so.
I also said last time that the Holes game was mine to lose.
And you did that.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I fulfilled that promise.
I can't believe I've been training for this very moment for years. I'm so excited.
Yeah, you didn't even know.
I've watched so many YouTube MCU breakdown videos. I'll be disappointed if I don't do well.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Is it just, are we sticking to mainly the movies? Is there, like, are you bringing any comics into it or any, like, of the one-off shows that are on Disney, let's say?
Bryce, that is a great question. To answer it, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
So the movies. But technically the shows are in the MCU, so...
Yeah, so actually all of the questions are related to the movies. There's reference to TV shows, but I don't think I asked a specific question about a show. All right, gentlemen, are we ready to get this party started?
I see the cornfields out the window.
Heck yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay, question 1. In release order, what is the second movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Buzz?
Alec, would you like to go first?
Iron Man.
Okay.
Interesting.
I believe Iron Man was the first movie. I'm going to go with The Incredible Hulk.
See, now, I also agree with Connor that I thought the Iron Man was the first movie, but I think Iron Man 2 was the second movie.
Very interesting. 3 different answers. I like to see it.
Connor, you're making me doubt myself. They came out the same year, but I thought Iron Man came out after.
Just 42 days after the release of Iron Man on May 2nd, 2008, The Incredible Hulk came out on June 13th of the same year. Starring Edward Norton as Bruce Banner and Liv Tyler as Betty Ross, despite only receiving a 61% on Metacritic, The Incredible Hulk actually earned a total of $263.4 million in box office sales and is, quote-unquote, technically considered to be a moderately successful movie.
Definitely, to be honest, I have not seen The Incredible Hulk.
I haven't either. That's the only one I haven't seen.
That's okay, Bryce, because that's the only movie Edward Norton has ever appeared in.
Ever?
Because... No, obviously not ever. So, funny enough, actually, when the director of The Incredible Hulk was casting for the movie, the original choice for Bruce Banner was Mark Ruffalo, but they couldn't get him to join, so they cast Norton, and it was just a funny turn of fate that Norton ended up being a total huge asshole, and Kevin Feige was like, how about we talk to that Ruffalo guy again?
Get Mark.
Well, maybe he was just trying to method act.
If I'm not mistaken, I do believe Edward Norton is a method actor.
Yeah, so he was just pretending to be angry and mean.
All right, so Connor, you're the only one who gets a point for that round. Good
Let's
job,
go.
John.
We all had like decent guesses at least.
No, that's exactly how I wanted that question to go down.
You're so smart, Cameron.
Thanks, Alec. I appreciate that completely insincere answer or comment. True or false? Stan Lee had a cameo in every MCU movie, ending with Avengers Endgame, up until his death on November 12th, 2019. True or false?
True or false?
True or false?
False.
I'm going with false because I believe he had cameos in movies.
That's what I was going to
after
say,
his death.
too. I think it's false because at least his voice was in afterward, I know for sure. But I think they CGI'd him, too, didn't they?
No. So, tangent. Stanley was never appeared in a movie after his death.
Really? I thought he was in one that came out after
He was
died.
not.
But we all said false, though.
Yeah.
Answer, false.
Hey!
Is it because he wasn't in one while he was alive?
Stanley Martin Lieber, commonly
Oh my
referred
gosh.
to as Stan Lee, did not appear in 2010's Iron Man 2 due to quote-unquote creative differences with Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige on the character arc of Tony Stark. Lieber felt that the character development written for Tony was quote-unquote uncharacteristic of the superhero Jack, Steve, and I spent years creating, developing, and drawing. As the primary creative director of Marvel Comics for 2 decades, Lieber is widely regarded as one of the most prominent minds in comic book history alongside longtime creative partners Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. Lieber eventually resumed his cameos in the following Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Thor, following a written apology from Feige, accompanied by a bottle of 1792 Single Barrel Reserve whiskey and a box of San Cristobal de la Habana La Punta Cuban cigars.
I think that'd be enough to bring me back.
Dang. Didn't know that.
Yeah,
I knew that. That's why I said false, you know.
Totally.
Yeah, I said
All right.
false because in my mind I was like, oh yeah, the 7 barrels.
The cigars.
Crystal
The
I
cigars.
forgot. Yeah.
Everyone, please give yourself a point. All right, gentlemen, question number 3. What does the backronym for the Espionage, Law Enforcement, and Counterterrorism Agency known as
yeah.
SHIELD stand for?
Oh, I know the first 2 letters.
Technically, there are 3 correct
Oh,
answers.
interesting.
Superheroes in Earth leading defense.
I don't think you spelled shield right.
No, actually, because I have typed out the word SHIELD so much in the last 24 hours, it is, in fact, SHIELD.
No.
No, just don't
Yes.
tell Alec. Alec,
I
just
don't believe you.
Just go with whatever you think it is.
I know we said no Googling.
Yeah, you cannot Google how to spell SHIELD.
I can't? Oh, okay. No, I was just writing it down. That looks right, actually.
That was a good guess. I also think superhero makes sense.
That's it? That's all you got?
Bryce, there are 4 other letters in the word.
Superhero. In Earth. I can't remember what Connor said.
Are you just going to repeat what Connor said? Are you just going to repeat what he said? Bryce, you did say that if you're not sure, you may just repeat what other people say.
League defense.
Yeah. Go on.
This is one of those questions that they always ask the MCU actors in their press junkets to be like, haha, you don't know anything about your own movie. I know the first 2 are Strategic Homeland, and I don't know any of them after that, but I think the last one's Defense. That sounds right. Or Department or something like that.
Alec, are you locking in a partial answer?
Okay, let me just shoot for the whole thing. Strategic Homeland Intelligence Extraterrestrial something with
Lakers.
Lots of defense.
Lots of defense. So you're all wrong.
Really?
I can't believe it.
In the August of 1965, the Supreme Headquarters International Espionage and Law Enforcement Division was first introduced in Marvel's Strange Tales, issue number 135, alongside titular super spy Colonel Nick Fury, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Citing inspiration from the 1960s spy fiction television series The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Stan Lee created S.H.I.E.L.D. during a trend in American action series that centered around secret international intelligence agencies with catchy acronyms. For reference, Marvel would then go on to create 10 other similarly named organizations, such as Armor, Hammer, Spear, Strike, Euromind, Shape, Stake, Sword, Wand, and
So
Orcus.
did they just have one guy that like his whole job is just to like create acronyms for like the different organizations?
So this is what I mean by the term backronym. Backronym is when you start with a word and derive meaning out of the letters instead of coming up with a name.
That is a question I forgot I had.
Yeah, I thought you were just didn't know what the word acronym was.
I thought you just had a stroke or something.
Also, Orcus?
Funny you mentioned that. That's actually the only one that is not an acronym, but doesn't have any meaning. It's just called Orcus, and there's no explanation why. Someone may need to fact check.
So what's the actual answer?
Oh,
He
I'm
said
getting
it.
to the other 2 technically correct answers. In 1991, the backronym for S.H.I.E.L.D. was changed, actually. So it went from the Supreme Headquarters International Espionage and Law Enforcement Division to the Strategic Hazard Intervention Espionage and Logistics Directorate. But
Cool.
it was once again changed when the MCU was launched to its most current and, I would argue, most popular name, which is the Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division. So the 3 of you did not get any of those answers.
Do I get two?
No, you do not.
6, aka 1/3 of a point?
You do not.
Would not have thrown logistics into that acronym.
They're just also good at like delivering packages all the time.
Commonly referred to as the God of Mischief, what is Loki's last name?
Oh,
sorry. This is a multiple choice question. I should probably.
God. I definitely got this then.
With multiple choice, I think I can
We'll
figure
see.
All right. A. Giantborn. B. Laufeyson. C. Odinson. Or D. None of the above.
Ooh.
B. It's Laufeyson.
Going with none of the above. None of
Odin
those
is his father. I think that's too obvious. I don't know. I would rather pick one of the guesses than say none of the above. So I'm going to go with B.
Born on the planet Jotunheim to the king of the giants, Loki Laufeyson was abducted at the end of the war between frost giants and Asgardians by the king of Asgard, Odin the Allfather, and he was raised alongside his adoptive brother Thor, and, most of his life he didn't know that he was abducted by his adopted father.
I mean, that doesn't cause any, mental issues for him growing
Isn't
up.
this all in Thor 2?
This is actually all from the original Thor movie.
Oh. I forget everything that happens in Thor 2.
2011's Thor.
I forget how recent all of these movies are. Like,
Bryce, I would not call 2011 recent. That was 11 years
relatively
ago.
speaking.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You know, relative to the the Big Bang, you're right. That is
the only
recent.
other movie that's ever been referenced on this podcast is Holes, and we learned last week it was
which was 2003.
Holes is more of a classic than any of the MCU movies.
Changed my mind.
Achieving its proper status.
All right. So, Bryce, Alec, you get another point.
Shout out to Alec.
Well done.
I'm not going to say Bryce copied off of me.
Hey, you're the one who chose to answer as quickly as you did.
Sorry, Bryce is gaming the system correctly.
Well, I guess I'll just always wait and be last. Why wouldn't I do that?
All right. Question number 5. In 2014's Captain America: The Winter Soldier, the Captain America exhibit is featured in which popular American museum? A. The Guggenheim. B. The Met. C. The Smithsonian. Or D. The International Spy Museum.
I'm pretty sure the International Spy Museum is just a blank wall. They don't give anything
I don't
away.
have a clear memory of it, but for some reason I want to say I see the Smithsonian.
I was also thinking C. I'm going to go with the Smithsonian.
I'm like 99% sure it's the Smithsonian.
During the second act of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Steve Rogers returns to the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum to retrieve his original Captain America uniform, as the newer one was lost earlier in the movie. However, at no point in the movie is there actually ever an explanation as to what happened to his new uniform. It literally just disappeared.
Interesting. Well, they
Spooky.
They kind of go back to that in the TV show, the one that I just did.
Yep. Yeah, Falcon and the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier. They do go to the Captain America exhibit.
But is it at the Smithsonian again?
Oh,
In that one too?
yes, it still is.
That's what I based it off of, actually.
I should have probably prefaced this entire episode with spoiler alert.
True.
When I think about it.
Hope you're caught up.
Yeah, real quick, you guys, go back and watch 30 movies.
Guys, there was the snap. You wouldn't believe what happened.
I thought it was really interesting that it was the National Air and Space Museum, and like I thought it would have been like the Museum of American History.
Well, in the MCU, Captain America is basically the military. They do some things in the History Museum.
Yeah, that's true. The Air and Space Museum is more like a, I mean, because, you know, Connor, no offense, but planes are kind of stupid unless they got cool big rockets attached to them.
We're going to have big problems now.
Planes are so cool, Cameron.
All right. Well, gentlemen, that is the end of level 1. You all got a point, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we're all tied at 3.
Yep.
Because
I
I
got
had missed
3.
one along the way that you guys got.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I think I would like to play a game with you all. It's called Culture. I have a question that I'd like to ask you all, and we should try to figure out what has had a larger impact on human society: the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Star Wars franchise?
I thought you were going to say the DC universe, and I was like, this is
Not even a question.
not even a question.
So I think this question is particularly interesting because Star Wars obviously has had a huge impact on movies and cinema and sci-fi, but we only know that because we have the benefit of hindsight because of how old those movies are. I think given the scale of the MCU, there's a very easy argument to be made as to why, you know, it could theoretically be more impactful than the Star Wars franchise.
I think I agree with you, but the only to play devil's advocate, I think with the flux of media that we have now compared to when Star Wars came out, I feel like Star Wars made a much bigger immediate impact when it had its moment as the head movie franchise, and that still carries over. I mean, they're still doing what now? They're on the Boba Fett series.
Yeah, but the Star Wars sequels are bad.
I think it's Star Wars for sure, because
Not surprised he answered that.
think about it. Star Wars has had like 3 generations of different movies. So there's so many more people who have been affected by Star Wars. MCU, like, yeah, they're big, but I think it's really just big in like a certain demographic. And again, they all came out within the last 10 to 12 years or something.
See,
like that.
I don't know. I think liking the MCU is like what hot people do now.
Well, so the other thing I just thought of is actually with the amount of Marvel movies there are, that actually turns some people away from getting into the full MCU. Whereas Star Wars, you watch 6 movies, and you got it.
Yeah, and then 3 really bad ones.
I mean, like I said, you watch 6 movies.
I'm going to jump in here because I didn't think the recent trilogy was that bad. I did enjoy it. I think the fact that we're talking about the movies of Marvel is, makes this argument different because I think the comics would have been around before like the Star Wars movie content. But sticking just to the movies, like Star Wars has been around longer. I know my parents don't really get into like the Marvel movies now as much. So I think like it's something that like older folks will still get into.
To Cameron's point, though, that could be us 30, 40 years down the road when we're all...
Yeah.
When the rest of you are graying like me and everyone can look back and say, oh, yeah, they're still doing some Marvel movies and it's still somewhat relevant.
For those of you listening on an audio medium, you can't tell, but Bryce has gray hair.
All right, gentlemen, we're on to level 2. Questions in this round are worth, you guessed it, 2 points. Who is the current Sorcerer Supreme?
I
know
believe it's Wanda. I could be wrong.
The Sorcerer Supreme is Benedict Wong. That's the name of the actor.
Shoot.
But, his name is Wong.
I've always loved that his name is Wong, like in the movie and in real life. I like when that works out, and Alec is right that he is the current Sorcerer Supreme.
I misunderstood the
question. They definitely mentioned that in Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
Portrayed by British actor Benedict Wong.
Do I get extra points for knowing the actor's
The
name?
current Sorcerer Supreme is none other than Dr. Stephen Strange's longtime friend and ally, Wong. In 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home, it was revealed that after Doctor Strange was blipped by Thanos during the Infinity Crisis, Wong took over the responsibility of Sorcerer Supreme. So Connor and Alec, give yourself 2 points.
Heck
Let's
yeah.
go.
All right, question 7. What is the name of the SHIELD base located in Washington, D.C. that is a main location in 2014's Captain America: The Winter Soldier? A, the Fridge. B, the Hub. C, the Triskelion. Or D, the Sandbox.
Triskelion is way too far out there.
No, it's Triskelion.
You've got to be kidding.
I hope it's the Fridge, but my guess is Triskelion.
So, to add a caveat, all of these are real SHIELD locations that are either brought up in the MCU or in the Agents of SHIELD, which is technically not canon. But I disagree.
I mean, whoever came up with the Triskelion as a name, like, what a brainchild. But I'm going with the Fridge.
Dang it.
I just think that's a cool answer.
I feel like out of principle, I'll go with the Fridge because that was my instinct.
I'm going with the Fridge. Give me the Fridge.
I'm still on Triskelion.
Based on an ancient motif consisting of a triple spiral exhibiting rotational symmetry, a triskelion or triskelis,
Fridge.
which is Greek for 3 legs, is often found in the form of either an Archimedes spiral or 3 bent human legs.
See, I know that.
That's a complicated subject.
What is the nickname given to Sebastian Stan's character, Bucky Barnes, during his Winter Soldier deprogramming treatment in the fictional African nation of Wakanda?
Oh, I know this one. Oh, I know that. Please tell me it's not multiple choice.
It is not multiple choice. I did not read off any answers.
Well, I didn't know if you were pausing for dramatic effect.
No.
I have absolutely no clue.
Bryce, if you come up with something that I think is funny, I will give you a point.
I don't know. I got nothing. The Arm is what I'll go with.
Ooh.
That is a little funny.
That'd be
actually.
hilarious if he was the Arm.
The
That should be his superhero name. Is just
Bucky the Arm Barnes.
Okay, I will go next because I know I have an inkling of what it is, but I don't think I'm going to have the whole thing. I know it's something to do with a wolf. That's my thought. And I think he's like the The Iron Wolf. Something like that.
Interesting. Alec?
The White Wolf.
Oh, shoot!
In a post-credit scene in 2018's The Black Panther, T'Challa, played by the late Chadwick Boseman, refers to Bucky Barnes as the White Wolf. Barnes would only later again be referred to as the White Wolf during the Disney Plus exclusive series Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I'm beginning to think
Heck
I was
yeah.
not the right person to have on the Marvel episode.
Bryce, I think you're doing better than
I
you
have
think.
3 points.
No, Bryce, you have 4 points because the arm made me laugh.
I'm not going to give myself a point for the arm. It's not great enough. I could have done better. I held myself to higher standards than the arm.
I just realized I haven't even thought about the challenge question. Like if you had given a fake answer with your elaborate response, like I would have no idea if I would challenge it.
I'm not challenging anything because I'm going to go back to 0.
So that means one of these post-question explanations is going to be absolute nonsense.
Or all of
Yeah,
them
did
are.
you go to all this effort to create a fake history about the
Maybe.
Triskelion that took you
It's
15
the
minutes to
fridge.
talk about?
At the end of the game, I will reveal.
Okay.
Finish this quote. The hardest choices, blankety blank.
Can I choose any words, and just say it's a quote attributed to a different historical figure?
What is it? The hardest choices?
Blankety blank.
Do we know how many words are left? Or that was just
There are 4 words after the 3 words, the hardest choice. I'll give you that hint.
Are hardly ever made.
That's good, Bryce.
Thanks.
That'd be such a nihilistic line. That'd be
Alec?
great.
Oh my gosh, I don't know it. I'm gonna say the hardest choices require the toughest soldiers.
The hardest choices come with great hardness.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills.
I was sort of there.
Alec was right there.
That is what Thanos says as he murders an entire planet. or
I
entire half planet.
recognize, to be fair, I didn't want to give any context to help, but I did recognize that it was Thanos. I just had no idea what the last words were.
Yep.
All right, question number 10. What is Thor's voice recognition passcode for the Quinjet in Thor Ragnarok?
Okay, these are getting tough now. His voice password? Is it like a number or a word?
It is a whole bit in this movie.
Oh, and Thor Ragnarok? I haven't watched that one in a while.
Do I get bonus points if I tell you what he tries to say?
Absolutely.
So what he tries to say, he walks up to the console and he says, "Strongest Avenger." And it doesn't do anything. He says, "Strongest Avenger." Nothing happens. Eventually he says, "Breakpoint," I believe.
Ooh.
I might be off on that. I know he says "Strongest Avenger."
How about Point Break?
You gotta give that
Point
to him.
Break.
You gotta
Ah,
give that to him.
jeez.
Yeah.
Flipped it
Yeah,
around.
I'll
I
give that to
think
you.
it's Point Break. Do I get the points?
Bryce, I will not be accepting that answer.
I
All
think
right.
it's God of Thunder. Final answer. I wonder what it is.
This podcast is also brought to you by Floss. Whether you dance or you floss your teeth, be sure to get in all the
That's
spaces.
good.
I hated
I'm gonna go
that.
floss after this.
All right, gentlemen, welcome to level 3. Question 11. In what order and in what movies do the 6 Infinity Stones appear in the
my
MCU?
gosh, I'm gonna have to take notes.
Jeez.
Are you gonna at least help us with the names?
I was
of
going
the
to say, I
Infinity
can't
Stones?
even name the stones.
There is the Time Stone, the Reality Stone, the Power Stone, the Space Stone, the Mind Stone, and the Soul Stone.
Okay, so I know in the Avengers, Tesseract is there, which I believe houses the Space Stone. I could be wrong about that. And the Mind Stone is also in that movie because Loki has it in his scepter and brainwashes
So
people.
which order? Which of those two comes first, though?
Tesseract is shown first before the Mind Stone. I believe the Reality Stone comes up in Thor 2. And then I know next would be Doctor Strange with the Time Stone. And then I can't remember if it's in Infinity War or Endgame. I think it's Endgame. No, I'm going to go with Infinity War. The Soul Stone's in Infinity War. I don't know where the Power Stone comes in.
I am honestly surprised with how close I got to your answers to begin with. Even if you're wrong, if I'm close to someone, I'm happy.
We can ignore what movies they're in.
Okay, I'll do mine now. I had mind first and then space. And then I had power there. I had no clue. On most of these, to be honest. And then I had reality, and then I had time, and then I had soul.
Can I jump back in with a guess at the Power Stone? I believe that's in Guardians of the Galaxy, which would be prior to Doctor Strange. So I'm going to put that in between the reality and the time stone.
Okay.
Okay, I think I have the same as Connor, but it's because the Space Stone is in Captain America, which came out before the Avengers.
Oh, that's
so it's still the first one. But I'm wondering if this is a trick question, because all of the Infinity Stones are technically shown in Guardians of the Galaxy in the same movie.
Oh, shit, that's true. No, there's not a trick question.
But I think I should be extra right for knowing that. Also,
You're not.
I'm pretty sure, yes. So I think it's space, mind, reality, power, time, soul.
Gentlemen, the order is as follows. The Space Stone shows up for the first time as the Tesseract in Captain America the First Avenger. Following that, the Mind Stone as Loki's Scepter in The Avengers. Then the Reality Stone as the Aether in Thor the Dark Worlds. Power Stone as itself in the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Time Stone as the Eye of Agamotto in Doctor Strange. And the Soul Stone in Infinity War.
Very impressive.
So Connor, Alec, you get a point.
Impressive.
Or get 3 points. Connor, you started flipping back and forth there for a hot sec, and I was like, dude, chill, you were there.
Yeah.
I was like, did Thor 2 come before Avengers or the other way around? I could really not remember.
No, Thor 2 is phase 2.
I actually remembered the soul and the time stone. And I knew the mind and space were early on, and then I just took a guess from there.
My prediction was the trip up was going to be on the Mind Stone, because the Mind Stone is such a big part of Age of Ultron. I thought that was going to trip you guys up, but you remembered that it was in Loki's Scepter. So, kudos.
They changed the color of it, which wasn't very helpful. He has like a blue scepter, and then they took it out and it's yellow.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's like the whole thing, like Wanda's powers come from the Mind Stone, which is yellow, but she has red powers, which directly coincides with the Reality Stone, and makes way more sense for Wanda, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. WandaVision kind of talks about the colors a little bit, right? It's not like...
Well, the evil witch in WandaVision was purple.
I almost brought her up, but I was like, Agatha Harkness, I think, is too niche.
It was Agatha all along.
All right, let's keep going. What is the full name of the Afghani doctor who saves Tony Stark's life in Iron Man by attaching a car battery to an electromagnet installed inside of Stark's chest cavity?
No idea. I think it starts with an S.
I could not tell you, and I don't want to be offensive by guessing.
Cameron, this is a trap.
Connor, good point. Connor, for cultural sensitivity, you all get 1 point.
Do I actually get a cultural point?
Yes, 100%. Because I didn't think of that. Hailing from the small fictional village of Gulmira, Afghanistan, Dr. Ho Jensen was Tony's cellmate during their collective time spent in captivity of the international terrorist organization known as the Ten Rings. Jensen would actually go on to save Tony's life a second time when he sacrificed himself to buy Tony more time to boot up the first Iron Man suit. I read a theory a couple days ago that Jensen was probably and arguably the most impactful character in all of the MCU, because if Tony hadn't met Jensen, he probably would have still been an asshole and then never would have done all the things he did as Iron Man.
This is true.
He wouldn't even be Iron Man. He'd be dead.
Right. But you could also make the argument that if, it's the butterfly effect argument, but...
I'm a new Jensen stan.
Yeah, Jensen's a cool dude.
Good actor.
All right. On October 11th, 2021, via Twitter, Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 director James Gunn confirmed that the character of Adam Warlock would be played by former child actor blank.
The eyebrows guy from Maze Runner. I don't know his name.
I was gonna go with Zac Efron because I thought that he had come up as potential at one point. But I have not seen Maze Runner, so...
Again, I have absolutely no idea.
Alec, you are correct. I will accept Eyebrow Kid as an answer. His name is Will Poulter.
If you Google eyebrow kid, he comes up.
Yeah, he comes up. He's hot now, though.
Wait, what's his name? I'm going to be
We
his judge.
think?
What's his name?
Are we allowed to say
That
that?
he's hot now? Yeah.
You said he was a child actor, so...
He's a man now.
All right, moving on. Which actor has the most number of credited appearances in the movies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Does this include Stan Lee?
I was going to say Stan Lee.
Yes, it does include Stan Lee.
I'm saying Stan Lee then.
Well, now I'm thinking you would think it's Stan Lee, and it's actually someone else.
All right, I'm going with Stan Lee. Final answer.
I'm going to say Samuel L. Jackson just because maybe.
I was also going to say Samuel L. Jackson because I know Nick Fury's always got his nose in everybody's business, and I think he would be around. Including the time in Iron Man 2 when Stan Lee did not cameo.
The actor with the most number of credited appearances is Stan
Oh
Lee.
my gosh.
In every movie he makes a cameo in, he is credited as an actor.
Yeah.
Followed by a tie between RDJ and Samuel L. Jackson, who are both in 10 movies each.
I should have gone with my gut.
Fury is not in all the earliest ones, right?
He makes most of his appearances in Phase 2.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2 is the first one he's in.
Yeah, he's not in the first two.
No, he's in the end of Iron Man 1 in the post-credit scene.
That's the trick with MCU. Like, you gotta think of all those post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably where a lot of Nick Fury's appearances have probably been made, is post-credit scenes.
You're right, Bryce. I had not even known there was a post-credit scene in Iron Man 1 until I rewatched it like 6 months ago.
What is it?
You didn't rewatch all these movies to prepare for this episode, Cameron?
No, I did not watch through.
You call yourself an
60
authority on
to
the
80
MCU?
hours of.
How can we trust you?
No. So basically, at the end of Iron Man 1, someone breaks into Tony's house, and then he rounds the corner, and guess who's sitting there in the dark chair? It's Nick Fury, because that's his signature move. Let me flip on the light.
I was also thinking of Scarlett Johansson.
She's probably up there now. I bet she's probably at like 9 or 10
She
as
still
well.
misses quite a few, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the answer's going to change in a few years because Stan Lee's not appearing in anymore. So
And neither is Scarlett Johansson.
it's going to be Nick Fury.
Last question.
Already?
As of today, according to Rotten Tomatoes critics reviews, what is the worst rated MCU movie of all time?
There's two answers bouncing around in my head.
You could also tell me what is my least favorite Marvel movie, and I will give you full points for that.
That you've seen?
Is your least favorite a different answer than the worst Rotten Tomatoes one? Is that what that means?
Yes.
Interesting.
Do you just like really not like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or some random one like that?
I feel like the easiest answer is just to say The Incredible Hulk.
He gave us the rating of it at the beginning of the episode.
He did, but that doesn't mean that the rest of them are all rated higher.
I will give you the caveat that the rating I gave you was from Metacritic, not Rotten Tomatoes.
Interesting. I am going with The Incredible Hulk because I don't know well enough to be able to give other answers.
I'm going to say Eternals. I think that one was the worst, at least initially. I don't know what it is now, but I know initially it was rated worse than Thor 2, which was my other guess.
Yeah. So I watched Eternals recently, and I did enjoy it. And I remember seeing that the Rotten Tomatoes ratings were a lot worse than I thought they were going to be. But I'm still going to go with Thor 2 because I know that one is kind of notoriously bad. Definitely up there with The Incredible Hulk as well. That's my answer.
Connor, if you had stuck with your gut, you would have been right, my man.
I didn't want to copy Bryce.
So, the worst movie, according to Rotten Tomatoes, at a 48% is The Eternals, which I have to point out is directed by Chloe Zhao, the woman who directed Nomadland, which won 3 Oscars.
But it's also a completely different movie.
I'm challenging this answer.
Ooh.
Okay. Challenge on
Yeah.
the last question.
I don't think that's true.
Anyone else want to pile on this challenge train?
I'm definitely not challenging it. I will say I really like the Eternals, and I hope it's wrong.
I am not challenging.
I don't think it was at a 48%.
Okay. Well, that's not part of the question.
Well, yeah, but I also think there were movies with worse rating.
Oh, really? Okay. Cool. Well, the next section is the challenge reveal. So let's put that on pause real quick.
I was going to guess your least favorite.
Yeah. If you were curious, and if you were all any of my real friends, I guess, you would know that I'm too indecisive to have a least favorite movie because I can't decide what I dislike more between Thor and The Incredible Hulk.
Okay, so that part was a trick question.
Yes.
So do I get a point then?
No.
I guess it's The Incredible
yeah.
Hulk. So,
The answer is The Eternals.
Nice. I mean, not
Undeserved.
nice,
It was a
but
great
Did I
movie.
not say that?
It's pretty good.
Did I not say that already?
No, you said you were going to wait to reveal, but now we don't know what the challenge question actually was.
yeah. So can we, before we do the challenge question, can we reveal what points we're at right now?
I am at 8 points.
Oh, okay. I'm at 7. Unless you give me the arm, and then I'm at 8.
Bryce, I gave you the arm.
All right.
You declined.
Okay,
it.
we're at 8 then.
I have 19.
Oh, yeah. All right, so if Alec challenges multiple times and I challenge...
Can I go back and think of other questions I want
That's
to
what I was going
to
to do.
No. In case you were curious, before I reveal what the challenge is, Thor the Dark World is rated at a 66% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's not that
and
bad,
that is the
honestly.
second lowest.
What's the highest? Do you know the highest?
Yeah, it may surprise
Is
you.
it Shang-Chi?
It is the Black Panther.
Oh, I knew that.
96%. That also won an Oscar.
Shang-Chi was higher initially. Shang-Chi was at like 98 at first. I think it dropped
Shang-Chi
slightly.
has, it looks like it has settled to
It's in the
91%.
90s, though. Okay.
Thor Ragnarok is 93. Iron Man is 94. No Way Home is 93, but somehow higher than Iron Man. I'll take it. 94 Endgame and 96 Black Panther.
Yeah, I figured Endgame was second, at least.
You're telling me that critics think that Ant-Man and the Wasp is better than Infinity War? They're wrong.
Ant-Man, okay, so I might protest this episode of the podcast because you didn't ask a single question about Ant-Man, and you know that that's my favorite Marvel.
Paul Rudd
movie.
is a gem.
What's the challenge?
Gentlemen, the answer that I completely fabricated was question number 2. Stan Lee was in every single Marvel movie he could have been in before he passed away.
You're telling me you made up that entire thing with the bottles of whiskey?
did.
Oh my
I did.
gosh.
That was convincing.
That's really good, actually.
Yeah.
I believed you, but I also was like, that kind of doesn't make sense. Like, why would he only not be in Iron Man 2? Like,
So does that mean he was also in movies after? Because
No. He
died.
I thought he was
He
in
died.
Far From Home. And I thought that was after he died.
he had recorded that previous to
sure,
his
but he still died, and then the movie came out.
death. I mean, I guess that's a technicality. It doesn't really
So we were still
So
all
we
right.
were all
doesn't-
correct, but we didn't challenge, so...
it doesn't change anything. So actually, if you're curious, in Iron Man 2, he plays Larry King at the Stark Expo when Tony's going down the stairs in the POV thing. He looks
Yeah.
and Stanley plays Larry King.
That's funny.
So you're telling me we should all knock ourselves down a point for saying false on that one?
No,
No,
'cause we were
you
still
keep
right.
it. Technically, you were,
We were fake right.
when I asked the question. You're fake right.
Okay.
But no.
Feels
Well,
bad.
we were real right too
Fake
because
right
he
and
appeared in the
actually,
movie
we should
after
all
he
get
died.
3
Yeah.
points because...
No,
Yeah,
Just
because
because.
Cameron was wrong about being wrong.
Yeah.
that's not true. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Alec, it seems like you're the one who finished us off with the W.
Thank goodness my hard work of paying way too much attention paid off.
Bryce, Connor, you guys tied.
As I stated at the beginning of the episode, I have seen a Marvel movie, so I feel like I've proven that today.
Bryce, you watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen all of the Marvel movies except for the Hulk. I just don't remember things that well with movie.
All right. Well, thank you all for riding on the bus with me today and playing this game. I had a great time.
Bye.
Yeah. See ya.
Everybody
Bus
off.
has rolled in.
Everyone get the hell off this bus.